Okay, look at it. Manta, 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 wa mali wene manta. Manta, 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 wa the heaven manta. Manta, 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 wa mali wene manta. Manta, 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 wa mali wene manta. Tonight, 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 tonight is getting night. Tonight, 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 tonight is getting night. Tonight, tonight, tonight is getting night. Tonight, 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 tonight is getting night.
Okay, hal mar kale ku celina maxaa rabaa si musfarqin inay ogaato maanta inay meeradso muslim inay doorato hayadaha. Assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullaahi wabarakaatuh. That is perfection. Wow. Horta hore cid saas yaa iska helo, aaba saas yaa iska helo. Thank you, Abo. You know, into wuu sheeko inuu ii sheeko oo ka xisaabsan aniga markaa yaraa oo my favorite story aan ka haysto. So my dad used to take us to the ocean and we used to go swimming, right? Me, my older brother, and my twin brother. And he would go and saddexda wiil, labada wiil iyo aniga, and badda kusoo hormaraa. Madaxa Abdallah would say, madaxa Abdallah, anigoo dabaal garanayniya. And wiilasha intuu soo qabanayo Nadia ujeedaa ku hayso. Next thing you know, my head is like literally popping up, and you know I'm not afraid, obviously, because you know courage will all this, you know. It's what all this. So and that's my favorite story is that I'm a survivor. All right, it doesn't matter. I'm a survivor, and that's my favorite story. But in tani garanaynin magacayga waa Nadia Mohamed. Maanta Soomaali fiican baan isku diyaariyaa. Mujeedaa. Soomaali waa isoo bartaa fara mujeedaa. Intaasna isoo deegaa. But unfortunately, waxaan u ilaha hadee magaca hore. So English baan ku leeyahay. Inta fan ku haysto oo wala laabtay ee way halaaday cidiidu iga soo dhacday soo iga raadinaa. But intii garanaynin, like I said, magacayga waa Nadia Mohamed, maxaa ahay council member for the city of St. Louis Park. Haddana maxaa lagu doortay mayorka for the city of St. Louis Park, well, mayor-elect for the city of St. Louis Park. Jake Spano, I don't want to take his title away. He still has another month or so, you know. This is right. I mean, you are right, Jake. This is your goodbye party, so bye. I would like us to just kind of wave to him as he's leaving at the end of the night, you know, have a grand time. But I'm going to tell you, I know that as I look around this room, I see a lot of people who've been with me since 2019, since I first started, when I first ran. And a lot of you know my story, but I want to get on here and share it again. You've already heard that I've been living here for the past 18 years. And my family and I moved here from Somalia and Kenya, very much like everybody else here was for a better life, right? And alhamdulillah, we were able to make a better life for ourselves, and we were able to go into this community, this amazing, beautiful community, which by the way, you are in tonight. Usually when these parties take place, it's happening in Minneapolis, and we're just happy that it's happening here, right? As you can see, it's a very beautiful city. And this is where I grew up, and this is where I've made a community, and this is where I made my mark, as you can see. And from the time that I graduated from high school, I wanted to make sure that St. Louis Park heard from people who look like me, right? Not necessarily Muslim, not necessarily Somali, but every other person that represents and lives and works and loves this community that they're being heard from, right? And so I made it a point to go into every aspect of St. Louis Park, whether it was the police department, the community ed, and I was able to have an opportunity to run for city council at the age of 23 because the council members and the mayors then recognized that Black voices are needed, Muslim voices are needed, Somali voices are needed, right? BIPOC voices are needed. And the hard work that they put in to allow room for that has been amazing. So I want to thank the council who's sitting here. I want to thank Mayor Jay Spano. I want to thank Larry Kraft, who used to be a former council member. I want to thank Council Member Lynette and Council Member Yolanda Ferris. I know that our other council member, Subud, was here too. And so I want to thank all of them, and the ones that came before them, Tom Miller and Natalie, all of them who were able to open up this space for me to do my work. Right? Speaking of thank yous, I'm looking around the room and I'm looking at everybody who's been with me since day one, who's been door knocking with me. And honestly, if I could call out everybody, we'd be here all day, and then we couldn't see Sultan Salah, could we? We'd be here all night. So I'm going to keep it short and just know that I'm standing here in absolute gratitude for the community that stood behind me, in front of me when needed, to the side, to the left, whatever it may be, right? Y'all stood with me. And so I want to highlight the youth who have come out. I know there's like, they weren't here tonight, but I had a campaign manager who was of youth, right? I had high school students who came, door knocked after going to the high school, and they came back and they door knocked and they did their civic duty. I also want to highlight again Kosa and Anissa and Bahja. That thank you. You guys should also have been, because apparently they're taking applications. Right? And I think the most important thing that I have learned from this campaign, and it was a hard one, it was for people who remember, it was 6 months of talking to this person, fundraising and door knocking, and I was able to learn that it's not that the young generation aren't sitting out or that they don't care, it's that they're not engaged. It's that you are not knocking on their doors and telling them, hey, I'm doing this, would you be interested? How I got these young kids who are wanting to work in my campaign was because I was able to reach out to people and say, hey, come on in, you don't need any experience, come do this, I will teach you everything you need to know, right? And now today, maybe one of those 3 girls could run for office next, or maybe they could become lawyers or doctors or teachers or whatever it may be, right? But I was able to, I'm so happy to be able to hold space for that type of experience and for that type of learning. Speaking, I'm also seeing everybody's uncle, auntie, everybody, right? One of my residents who, when I first announced that I was running, he said, Adero, I got you, fundraising mo ba hadda kusmena dori Adero. Adero, maganda sa fundraising mo may ba happy ko wala Adero. Ana ko halina Adero, di ba ba kasawa jeda? Mashallah, thank you. Right? And so then there's so many people I see, as I look around, I also see people who are part of the DFL party and in the caucus and who are wanting to get people of color elected, right? And that's really important. So now, moving on from my thank yous, I actually want to stand here and give you 2 messages. That's it. Tonight, I'm only going to say 2 main things, and I hope you guys go home with it and y'all listen, right? So you've already met my parents, and when I was growing up, they used to love telling me about folklore, like especially Somali folklore, right? Whether it's Degder, y'all remember Degder? Who was scared of Degder over here? She was frightening, woo! And there's Woodwad, right? But my favorite one that I still take with me everywhere I go is the story of the father and his 5 sons. I'm sure you guys know that story, right? So I'm going to tell you that story, and I'm going to start, of course, the traditional way, because we're traditional. Sheka sheko. Well, we can do better than that. Sheka sheko. Yeah, hachuri. There's an old man, you know? There was an old man who was a father of 5 boys. Very much like every Somali story, this is happening under a gid, under a tree. He's sitting under the shade of a tree. And he calls his 5 sons and he says, you guys, come sit down. Come sit in front of me, right? And so the sons come and he says, Ordka, gid kana. He tells every single one of them, go grab a stick. And so all 5 of them, because body, right? Where the head, stick besok sa len. Besok the isten. He says, stick up, midki every single son was told, break the stick. It was an individual stick, break the stick. And every single one of them broke it, from the first one to the fifth one, right? And the father said, okay, now get up again, grab another stick. And they're like, I'll go, why are you making me do that? That was a joke, y'all, come on now. That was a long night, but, give me a little giggle, a little hee-hee, But of course, body way again, they're good sons, so they get up and they grab another stick. And so the father grabs each one of their sticks and he wraps it around. And he says to the first son, try to break me. The first son grabs it, tries to break it, couldn't do it. Second son grabs it, tries to break it, couldn't do it. Again and again and again and so forth up until the fifth one, right? And the dad says, so I see none of y'all went to the gym tonight. Come on, I'm checking to see who's listening, y'all. Come on. So he didn't say that, of course. You guys know the story. And so the father says, I hope you guys know why I'm doing this. This wasn't purposeless. The purpose of this is for you guys to know that apart we fall, we break, right? Together we are strong. You weren't able to break these 5 sticks together, not because you're not strong enough, because, but because it was together. And so that togetherness builds strength, right? And so I don't know if that story is real or fake or, What? Oh, it's a real story that really happened, y'all. There we go. But here's the thing. I will tell you a real story. And since we're in America, I'm gonna actually tell you about America, right? And so when America first was becoming a country of its own, it had 13 colonies. And the 13 colonies couldn't come together to handle their business or, to fight for their independence against the United Kingdom, right? And they wanted to do it, but they couldn't because there was 13 colonies. 13 different districts in colonies trying to make their own decision. And so out came this cartoon that has a picture of a snake, right? And the snake was broken into halves, or pieces, I should say. And at the bottom, sorry y'all, it gets dark. At the bottom it says, join or die. And so and went everywhere. And because of that, the 13 colonies realized that if they are one colony against the United Kingdom, they are not going to survive. They will indeed die. If they are 13 colonies against the United Kingdom, they might have a fighting chance. So that saying of join or die, that cartoon, right, that was invented way before. It was drawn way before, right? But that became the premise and the mission for the 13 colonies. And up until they were 13, from 13 up until 50, they still continuously work together, did they not? The 50 states still are one nation, are they not? Right? Now, lately it's been a little decisive? My English is testing me there. A little I'm here, you are there, stay away from me, on this side, you that side, right? And you see the consequences of that. So I tell you these 2 stories because I ran and I will continue to promote and advocate for unity, to the ability for us to get the work done together. Thank you. And I will say, obviously, it is no surprise, just look at this room, honestly. It is no surprise that we have the largest Somali concentration in Minnesota. We have the largest concentration in Minnesota all around the country, right? So we have the biggest Somali population here outside of Somalia. That's the best way to say it, right? Thank you. Right? Because we're a huge population. So what do we do with those numbers? We get the work done together. We work together, right? And when we are, whether we're running for office, whether we're building our businesses, whether we're getting our education on, whether we're pursuing higher education, whatever it may be, it's important that we work together and that we get the job done together, right? Right, you guys? Thank you. I will say, in that spirit of togetherness, in that spirit of iskalmasho, isawis, isgabstad, right, in that spirit, and I will pause here and I'll say this. marka aniga bishaan bilahi hadda soo tartanayay qof ay soo fadhiisay ee dhahday naadiyo qatar dad Soomaali soo loo hadashay galbiisa isna xaq wada Soomaaliya uu garna waxa kale way isda si iskari bara Soomaali waa garna waxa kale way may sida Soomaaliga dad sida Soomaalis aa u hadashay ma garanaysid Soomaali waa hadla asa hay Soomaali soo loo hadla may marka Soomaalida ahajud markasta war macaan ku dhahaa right Soomaali wax inay sameeyaan darada iib ina kaliis waala iibooda soo kale hay soo caawo digan karina ayo ugu dara hayada soo iyo galada hadii marka unity ka hadlno iskaalmashada ka hadlno after gabdha ma ku darno gabartii markay meel ku dhawaaqdo meel aadayso meel sameeyna waxa sameeyna ay dhahdo wala kal jijifa ha hoy ha guuleysato meel ha ka soo baxdo magaca yeeshato wala ya gabdhaheni alla madoli alla gabdhu Soomaaliya wala ogaa ya now I got to say ya diga hubna karkarteen because maxaanaba inaan ku daro equation ka dumarka Soomaaliyeed because waa run tore gulkay waa gul Soomaaliyeed but more importantly waa gul